as a part of your previous relationships and previous lines on your CV, is now joining us. And it's time to catch up with Gareth O'Sullivan and find out about Decatur FC. Gareth, good to see you. Nick Alifi is here, part of our normal crew. Nick has parachuted in to hang out, so thanks for coming in for a three-way dance.
Thank you for having me, lads.
Decatur FC, it's a really cool thing that you have been part and parcel to bringing to the table. Does it feel like kickoff is only 8 hours away for the first time ever with this franchise? Does it feel 8 hours away?
It doesn't, but I know it'll be here before we know it. And I know we'll have some bumps on the road, I'm sure, over the course of the day and throughout the game. But I'm excited that it's here and that the community has embraced it. Nick, for Gareth, first question on the board for the principal for Decatur FC.
Gareth, it's been a very, very long time, sir. But you and I was the game day producer for the Atlanta Beat back in the day. So the guy who pretty much ensured that whenever the video board would actually work at Fifth Third Bank Stadium, it was our little booth that was freaking out, having to deal with everything. This is not the first time you have stepped into a situation where you are starting something from ground up. Can you talk about what your mindset is when it comes to starting a team, getting them off the ground and building out the operations as a day one team?
I mean, to be honest, getting this process started was one thing, but then waiting and kind of getting our venue organized was the next big step. But seeing the reaction of the community and the soccer community in general over the last, 6 weeks or so has been amazing. I mean, just today, the last hour and a half, there's been another 60 tickets sold. So it's really taken on a life of its own, and which is fantastic. I knew it had the ability to do that based in Decatur, with the Decatur's a soccer crazy community and town. So we really felt like it would have a chance. But we're supremely excited to kick off tonight and see where the season takes us.
What's the biggest lesson that you've learned in this process as you're getting ready for opening night?
There's so many things you have to think of. Last time I was involved, I was on the coaching side, and there's a very different set of check marks that you have to make sure are hit, and it's mainly on the field and your staff and prep for the team, whereas this is a much bigger picture, and I've got some fabulous people. I always try and surround myself with good people, and I've got some great people helping make this happen. And from that point of view, you've Jen and Joel and Megan and Miranda, and especially the city as well with Cara. They've been fantastic, and we even have the mayor coming out tonight to do the kickoff. So it's been a fabulous collaboration, I should say.
Nick, go for it.
As someone who has not only been a coach at all the different levels from your time at Christian Brothers, and then obviously through the Atlanta Beat, and you have roots here in town, with Tysa, right? And how how to develop players. You talk about surrounding yourself with a good staff. I remember, showing up for games at Tysa and seeing a lot of the familiar faces from the Atlanta Beat days there, coaching kids, and they played an excellent style of ball. When it talks about youth development and how you see youth development feeding in to Decatur, can you talk a little bit about your philosophy when it comes to the progression of the player from the youth stage up to where you guys are talking about playing with Decatur?
Yeah, to be honest, there's a lot of really good clubs around the Decatur area. You've got, obviously, you mentioned Tysa, and you've got Inter Atlanta right there as well. And there's DDY in the heart of Decatur too. So, there's lots of options for people. We really try and focus on individual development and trying to play the right way. And sometimes by ensuring that we play out of the back and go wide to our fullbacks and things like that, by insisting on that type of play, you tend to give up some goals to teams that maybe just high press you and have some speed up front. And maybe those same teams maybe punt the ball at the young age. And while it can be effective and win you games, it's not really helping develop the players. And we're trying to really make sure that our kids are getting better every year and able to do the things they need to do at the next level when the next coach takes over. So if I've got a group of 8-year-olds and they go to my next coach and they're not able to do what they should be able to do, then me as a kind of director, I have to look back and say, well, why aren't they at that level at this point? And we need to look at that, because we really want to make sure that the kids are developing. And I know a lot of the other clubs feel the same way. I think there's a way to balance it. And obviously winning games, it's America, there's a scoreboard, and, I get that. But it's tough sometimes having to have the patience to see that this is actually about developing your kid and your kid getting better, as opposed to, the short-term wins and losses. So, we deal with a lot of that. So, but we try to do the right things.
When it comes to the WPSL in general and what you're diving into here with Decatur FC, what's it been like for you to see the game grow to where we're having a Decatur FC and a WPSL in its 25th season expanding to where it is? What's it been like for you to see the growth of the game to this particular point where we have the bookmark in the book here?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic, the growth we've seen. I think at the top level, they seem to have a blueprint that's working, and the growth has been great. And some of the new stadiums that are, female-only stadiums, like the Kansas City Current, that's a fantastic, standalone women's stadium, which is amazing. And you see a lot of the NWSL teams putting their second teams into this league. So I think that's another tribute to the WPS and the longevity that's had. When I was at the Atlanta Beat, we were really looking at potentially doing a second team to put in the WPSL. So our players would get plenty of minutes, and we'd also have a pool of players to pick from. So I think the growth of the women's game has been great, and it seems to be continuing to grow.
I think that if Mani McCoskey's knee doesn't explode the way that it did and kind of shake up that back line, I think that your first year at the Atlanta Beat probably would have been very different. That's just my 2 cents on the matter. But can you talk about your roster makeup? Like where are you pulling your players from now for this? What are the player profiles that you're looking for? This gets asked of a lot of coaches, and they're expecting cardboard answers. But I just think it's very interesting to hear the different mentalities of, this is how we source our players. This is the kind of how our roster is going to be made up, and this is generally where we're pulling our players from.
So, we kind of have a year 1, year 2, year 3 plan. So year 1, to be fair, Coach Campbell Chapman, who put the roster together, I have to give him all the credit for our fabulous roster. He has obviously a lot of contacts and was able to put together this roster. But I know he wants to play an attractive brand of soccer, and that's very important to us. We really want to put on a show for the fans and play some good football. So from that point of view, I know that the roster is full of girls that are comfortable on the ball. We will be quick. We're going to try and press the opposition and win it back quickly. But it was important that we play, an attractive brand. So I know all the girls, profile-wise, that he's brought in will be comfortable on the ball and excited to attack. Most of the girls have an Atlanta, connection, and a lot of them are at different colleges all around the Southeast. And that was kind of our kind of plan 1 was, let's get this roster together and play an attracting brand of football year 1 and see where we lie at the end of the season, because we were brand new. So we wanted to kind of obviously be competitive, and ultimately everyone wants to win, but we wanted to put together a roster that would play an attractive brand of football, give us a chance for success. And then at the end of the season, we'll reflect and see, what we want to do for next year. So that was kind of our process, but Campbell did put together the complete roster.
Gareth O'Sullivan giving us the curtain pullback on the debut for Decatur FC tonight at Decatur High School. If you are anywhere within the 30030, or if you're in the 30329 or 30345, anywhere close, come and visit and get to see something from the ground up, and everything that Gareth and his folks have done is investing in something from absolute zero to getting their first match in here in the WPSL. When it comes to, you mentioned the kind of player that you're wanting to bring in to attach to a style of play, but I know that you also want to bring in a particular kind of individual as well in the WPSL to represent Decatur FC. When you were looking for that kind of a balance of individual, what kind of individual are you looking for off the field to help represent Decatur FC as a part of this process, including on the field?
Yeah, I think, and I mentioned earlier that the community has really, engaged in this whole project. And it's very important that we have players that understand that they're part of something special. I mean, we'll have 1,200 people there tonight, which I think for the WPSL is fantastic. But the girls know that this is a unique opportunity, and they have to kind of do their part as well. We had, at the kit reveal, we had 4 girls out there signing autographs, mingling with the fans and the young girls and young boys from the community. We've done some other events, and we've got some more stuff coming to where we're going to ask the girls to really play a role in helping us at the grassroots level, not just promote the team, but promote women's soccer.
Nick, go for it.
I like swag and merchandise. These are the things that make me very excited. So, are we able to purchase, swag? Are we able to purchase merch? I see the top end of a shirt there.
There it is.
It is. All right. So where am I buying this stuff, man?
So if you go to DecaturFC.com, we have a link on there, and you can buy all sorts of swag. We will have the game jerseys available as well for sale. We will have a certain amount available for tonight's game, but then for our next home game on June 7th, we will have the whole range available. Oh. So it should be fun. But at DecaturFC.com, there's a link for the roster, sponsorships, but obviously shop. And if you click on shop, you can buy everything from a coffee tumbler to a yard sign to T-shirts to whatever it is you feel like.
Yeah, no doubt about it. They're probably going to get a fair portion of a credit card that is going to get singed on my end. We can stack the studio with the Decatur FC gear as well.
Love to hear it. I
know the boss will do it. Let everybody know, because it's not just the game today. It is a full-blown experience that is going to be starting at a place that intimately in Decatur in the Square as a part of this whole thing. But what is the game day experience going to be like as everyone works their way eventually to Decatur High School?
So, yeah, we've got a kind of a pre-party going on at the Square today. It's really exciting. It actually starts off with the City Decatur Public Works. They're going to be out there at 3:00, and they're having their own kind of celebration of the team and celebration of their involvement. And Cara Scherer from the city's the assistant city manager, she's been instrumental in making this all happen. And she's got a big group out there today, and they'll have music and, food and beverage, and they'll be having a good old time. And then Jason Longshore will be coming up to join us around 4:30,
Never heard.
And then the girls are going to come make an appearance, and Jason will be able to introduce them, and we'll have some giveaways and stuff. And then the girls will make their way down to the stadium. And then I think at 6:15 or so, we're going to have the march to the stadium from the Square. So that should be a lot of fun. And it's obviously our first time doing all of this, so we're not exactly sure how it's going to play out exactly, but we're going to give it a good go to have a lot of fun today.
And the beautiful part is that the march is downhill.
The march is downhill. That is correct. So yes, that will definitely help. And now the way back up afterwards might be difficult.
Correct. Yes. And so that's why maybe you should, plan a meal after the match is over. There's some places in the Square that you could perhaps kind of hang out at. And this is the beginning of our relationship with SDH and Decatur FC. And so we figured it would be great to have you on here to break everything down. One of our viewers/listeners is in Charleston, South Carolina. And they're watching right now, and they're understanding that your accent is not an accent of Tucker, Georgia. So where are you from? They want to know your bio background and the bio blast, Gareth, and how you ended up here in this part of the planet.
So, I mean, it might be a bit of a giveaway with the painting behind me, but yeah, I'm from County Mayo in the west of Ireland, and yeah, I've been over here most of my adult life, to be fair, with a few extenuated. I was 5 years in Iceland and back in Ireland for 18 months in the middle of all that, but I did come to college over here at University of Memphis. So yeah, definitely Ireland. When I go home, they say I've lost my accent, so you know. It is what it is, you know.
It's all good.
But after a few pints, it comes back, you know. So
absolutely, Gareth. Looking forward to a full day in the city of Decatur and the unveiling of Decatur FC with the first match in the history of Decatur FC, Decatur High School. Just go to the square in the middle of the afternoon, get your weekend started, head downhill, go watch the match, and spend your time in Decatur. Thanks for dropping by. I know that this is a massively busy time for you, getting everything rolled out as the proud papa of this whole thing. Can't wait to see how it all rolls out. We'll be there tonight. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the morning show.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
That's Gareth O'Sullivan. So Gareth survived the morning show, Nick, and he's going to get back to making sure that the entire city of Decatur rolls out and is there for the matchup tonight. It's going to be a fun experience on a bunch of different levels, because you know how we talk about things happening from the ground level and seeing something from ground zero, from absolute zero. And it's the first chance that we get for Decatur FC tonight. It's against Atlanta Fire, 7:00 kick. But basically, if you show up there middle of the afternoon in the square in downtown Decatur, something's going on. And some guy named Longshore is going to be there at some point, like 4:30-ish, to kind of get everything rolling. And so